Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the fat-soluble vitamins. We're going to start with vitamin A. The precursor for vitamin A is beta-carotene. This name may seem familiar to you because beta-carotene is found in carrots and other yellow fruits and vegetables. There are three different forms of vitamin A: retinol, retinal, and retinoic acid. Each of them has slightly different functions in the body. The recommended dietary allowance is 700 to 900 micrograms per day, and there is an upper limit, a toxic upper limit of around 3,000 micrograms per day, so you want to be careful with that. Vitamin A is essential in athletes to prevent infections, particularly gastrointestinal tract infections, and also other infections that boosts the immune system. So here we're looking at retinol and beta-carotene. And you can see that retinol is a molecule that is a subset of the beta-carotene molecule. In fact, by dividing it in two, you can end up with two retinol molecules. You can find it, as I said, in carrots, things like yellow vegetables like butternut squash, yellow fruits like cantaloupe, things like bell peppers, but you can also find vitamin A in tuna and sweet potato and spinach, and a number of other fruits and vegetables. Vitamin A has a role in vision. Cis retinal can be converted into trans retinal in the presence of light, and so this is essential for night vision. When you're deficient in vitamin A, your eyesight can decline, particularly vision at night. This is vision has an important role for many athletes. So keeping your vision in tip-top shape is essential. Vitamin A is also involved in cell differentiation in the skin and in the gastrointestinal tract. And for this reason, vitamin A can help with things like acne on the skin and preventing infections in the gastrointestinal tract. Vitamin A regulates mucous membrane integrity by helping the development of goblet cells, by promoting the development of goblet cells, and these goblet cells produce the mucus, which is a protective layer over our gastrointestinal tract. Next up, vitamin D. Vitamin D is an important vitamin for bone health. There are a number of places you can find vitamin D. Fish is an excellent source of vitamin D. A vegetarian source of vitamin D is mushrooms. There are fortified products like fortified milks that have vitamin D. Tofu, yogurts, are some other sources of vitamin D. But one of the most important places you can get vitamin D is through sunlight exposure. Sunlight exposure helps to convert 7-dehydrocholesterol into the precursor pre-vitamin D3. And then that will be converted in the liver into vitamin D3. So it's essential to get some sunlight exposure. So what are the functions of vitamin D in athletes? Vitamin D is essential for the absorption of calcium, and calcium plus vitamin D are crucial together for bone health. In fact, I would go as far as to say calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D together are essential for bone health, and that's really important in athletes. Athletes need to maintain strong bones to avoid injury and to avoid things like stress fractures. Vitamin D is also essential for muscle function and muscle strength. So again, vitamin D is super helpful here. Vitamin D is essential for the immune system function, to prevent illness, particularly during periods of intense training when you're in the competition phase of your season. And vitamin D is essential for cardiovascular health, which is essential for your endurance athletes to make sure that their cardiovascular health is tip-top. So, as I was saying, vitamin D can be synthesized through sunlight exposure using cholesterol, and the hydroxylation of vitamin D is essential to give you all the D group vitamins that you need. So it starts in the skin and then continues in the liver and kidneys. sunlight exposure about 15 minutes to 30 minutes 3 times a week over large parts of your skin without sunblock is important for athletes to be able to synthesize all the vitamin D that they need. You can get vitamin D from oily fish, from egg yolks, from fortified milk, as I was saying, but here we have this 5 to 30 minutes of sun exposure to large areas without sunscreen is important for getting the vitamin D that you need. Next up, vitamin E. Vitamin E is primarily an antioxidant. It is found in a number of different vegetable oils and nuts, as you can see in this picture. Vitamin E is a very powerful antioxidant, and it will protect your cells from free radical damage. Free radical damage occurs, curiously, after intense physical activity. So vitamin E can help reduce muscle damage, and in this way it can increase or speed up muscle recovery after intense workouts. Vitamin E is also essential for the immune system function, which can be beneficial during periods of intense training, like competitions. And vitamin E is essential for red blood cell formation, and obviously having red blood cells and oxygen delivery from those red blood cells is essential for endurance performance. And finally, vitamin E may play a role in just maintaining overall muscle health. Vitamin A deficiency is very rare, and it's only seen in people who do not digest fats. However, the effects of vitamin E deficiency, the free radical damage, can be particularly harmful, including anemia and red blood cell breakage and nervous system dysfunction. Athletes need 15 milligrams per day of vitamin E or higher, and there is an upper limit of around 1,000 milligrams per day, at which point it can start interfering with the functions of vitamin K. These are some sources of free radical damage. I've highlighted here that metabolism is one of the key sources of free radical damage, and because you're an athlete, you will increase your rates of metabolism, your rates of carbohydrate and fat metabolism, and this in turn will dramatically increase the production of free radicals. So for this reason, vitamin E is essential. And you can see that other things can increase free radical damage: smoking, air pollution, any sort of exposure to ionizing radiation. These are things that you want to avoid as an athlete because these will prevent performance. Last, we want to look at here at vitamin K and the role of vitamin K in athletes. Vitamin K is involved in the metabolism of bone proteins, and so it contributes to the strength of bones. This is particularly important for athletes to prevent bone injuries and stress fractures and things like that. Vitamin K is essential for cardiovascular health, so that's important for athletes, all athletes, but particularly endurance athletes. And vitamin K plays a crucial role in blood clotting, which is essential for healing and recovery from injuries in sports. So for this reason, vitamin K is an important vitamin to include in your dietary considerations. The recommended dietary allowance is between 90 and 120 micrograms per day. Vitamin K toxicity is pretty uncommon, and deficiency is quite rare. It does occur in infants, but sometimes you see insufficiency in athletes, inadequacy in athletes, and impaired recovery and poor bone health when there's borderline vitamin K in athletes.